with the shot. He scores! Right past the diving Jackson.
That was set up for them to do really well. So that goal comes at 13:40 in the first half. Alvarez on the direct kick.
1-0 Van Wert. It was the opposite final score last year when these two teams met, with Bryan winning, obviously, by a score of 1-0. It's going to be Tyler Mannon to kick for the Bears. Just over 13 minutes into the first half. And he puts it in play right to Brandon Reiser. Good long kick across the field, and Van Wert's been able to threaten a couple of times today. Not many shots on goal, but they've been able to push the ball toward the box. Speaking of pushing the ball toward the box, Bryan able to do that, but it's cleared out by Marshall Healy, another one of the captains.
Van Wert's allowed a lot of play down in this end, but they've done a good job of not letting the Bears get too many shots on goal. So the Bears are kind of threatening, but really not.
And I think this will be a Bryan throw-in, and it will. It was kicked out of bounds by the Cougars and headed back toward the sidelines. Oh, this one does not go out of bounds. And that was deflected in the air. I think it was Paquette who sent it in the air, and now Alvarez sends it ahead. A running chance, meanwhile, for Brown, but he has it kicked away from him. A couple of players fall down, but they will play on as Isaac Alvarez chases down the ball. It's a good thing for him that in soccer they don't have the over and back rule like you do in basketball.
Absolutely.
Obviously, it's a much bigger field to deal with, so
right.
Obviously harder to handle a soccer ball than it is a basketball. Van Wert starts to work backwards at this point. This is Jake Lautenheiser with the ball. Sends it just across midfield to Healy. Perhaps another for Van Wert as Gabe Steyer chases down the ball to the far side. Sends it across, and it's kicked out by Reiser. And McLeod sends it across the field. Chasing it down is Jackson Eddins. And Eddins lost control there as he sent that one out of bounds. And we'll have a throw in for Brooks Brown. And just over the head of Dylan Brayton, headed the other way, he did the opposite. Keaton Brown with it, though. Towards a crowd of Bears. Quinn Brown trying to push, but he has it taken away from him by back to the Van Wert with a 1-0. We're just about 17 minutes into play here in the first half. Alvarez sends it toward the box, but it's out. Only goal of this game coming on a free kick, a direct kick by Alvarez, giving Van Wert a 1-0. Then Ruger lost it. Bears perhaps was, but there's a crowd back there defending. Not really a clear shot for Bryan. But Reiser sends it to the near side, and trying to chase it down is Owen. And he keeps it from going out of bounds. But well defensed, and Eddins takes it away. Check that, that's Brayton, Dylan Brayton. Brown keeps it alive. Unable to win the battle with Colton McLeod. Right now in the box, but fairly easily scooped up by Hollingsworth. The Bears might have had a shot there. It was Tyler Mannon who was the closest purple jersey to where that ball was. Mannon has it, sends it upfield, but it's nothing but white shirts there at this point. Slowing down, meanwhile, is Ryan Chen. And the ball goes out of bounds. Chen will throw it in. Well, early on we had 5 corner kicks, but in the last at least 10 minutes, we really haven't seen any corner kicks.
Nope.
Seen a couple of chances for Bryan, although they have not been easy chances. Seems that Van Wert's kept quite a few players around the box and goes for it. But Nick Carter there to keep it in Van Wert's possession. Alvarez keeps it away from Brown and headed back the other way by Brooks Brown. And Alvarez will send it to the middle of the field for Jake Lautenheiser. Alvarez with it again, sends it upfield, and trying to chase it down was Asnake Steyer, but it went out of bounds. A throw in for Bryan, but Steyer has it again. Nice move. Faked out Brandon Reiser, but it's taken away, meanwhile, by Brooks Brown. Brown trying to control it. And it's going to be fielded, meanwhile, by Lautenheiser. Slide tackle there by, I think that was Reiser. Kicked that ball away. Up ahead to Mannon, but again, there's a lot of white shirts down there, and Mannon with a backwards kick. There was not a single Bear in that area. About 20 minutes to go. Sent back to the middle, and Steyer kicks it back. Alvarez sends it across the field. We are about halfway through the first half here in Bryan. Jackson Eden sends it to the sideline. Had a little trouble with the return. And this is Mannon. Has it taken away from him. And that kick will go all the way near the box, but it's chased down this time by Nathan Ruger. But we'll have a throw in for the Bears. And we'll get a sub in for the Bears real quick, as it looks like Brown coming out of the game. Blake Jessing comes in. And the ball goes out of bounds. We'll have a goal kick. One 0 the score in favor of Van Wert. They got the only goal of the game thus far on a free kick by Isaac Alvarez. That was a direct kick. As Bryan tries to pick up their first win of the season, they tied with Wauseon by a score of 1-1. One on the road against Paulding, 15-1. And this ball goes out of bounds. We'll have a throw in for the Cougars. Dylan Brayton puts it in play, and that ball goes right back out of bounds, and it'll be a throw in the other way. Brooks Brown to put it in play. And I wonder if Brayton maybe didn't step on the line when he threw it in. Kicked around near the box and cleared out by Brayton. Right back there, meanwhile, is Zach Seaman. Sends it back across midfield. Trying to push is, I believe, Travis Bauman. The ball goes out of bounds. Looks like we're going to have a corner kick for
Another
Bryan.
one. That'll be their third.
First in quite a while. At least 15 minutes since our last corner. And I believe it's Brandon Reiser set to put it in play. And he does, but not very high, and right into the hands of Hollingsworth.
So 3 corner kicks apiece now.
We're 23 minutes into play as Van Wert leads it 1-0. Van Wert won just 2 games a year ago, and these two teams played a very close game last year, with Bryan winning that one 1-0. Throw in for Van Wert. And that's out of bounds, and again it will be Van Wert's throw in. And it looks like it's going to be Jake Lautzenheiser to try and put it in play for the Cougars. And he does so.
That was a good move by Van Wert to kind of run towards the goal. It drew a lot of the Bryan defenders that way. He's able to get it in back, but Bears able to kick it out again.
So another throw-in coming up for Van Wert. Bryan's been able to push the ball down the field, but have not gotten many clean chances. Here's a clean chance for Van Wert, but Ryan Chen, or I beg your pardon, it might have been Alvarez again, couldn't catch up to it.
Yeah, it's way out in front of him. He just couldn't get to it.
Actually, I believe that's Ethan Mooney, number 26. Had a chance to make it 2-0, and Mooney just could not catch up to that ball. Jackson will send it the other way. And a good play there defensively by a couple of different Cougars, Asnake Steyer and Jacob Hart. 15 minutes for the first half. And Hart kicks it the other way. Hart with a full head of steam, but it's slowed down by Evan Collin. And Hart almost got it back. And that's out of bounds. It's going to be a goal kick. And we'll have a sub come in, a couple of them, for Van Wert. As Reese Jackson gets set to put it in play. Just under 15 minutes to go here in this first half. Jackson gets it just across midfield. And here's Manning coming downfield with it. He's slowed down. Jacob Hart defensively, trying to get it up ahead for Owen Potvin, but it's out of bounds, and a goal kick on the other side coming. And again, not really a clean chance there for Bryan, though they were able to push the ball down the field. Van Wert had several defenders around the box. .13 and a half to go in the first. Sefrin Hernandez with the ball, and it's sent across midfield. Pretty good defensive job by Brooks Brown, able to keep it away from Keaton Brown. And here's Reiser coming the other way, and he has it nearly stolen from behind, and we're going to get a whistle. There's going to be a penalty, it looks like, on Serafin Hernandez. Well, he looked like he made contact with Brandon Reiser, though it didn't seem like much. We're going to have a free kick, though this one won't be a direct kick. It's sent toward the middle of the field. Manning has it taken away from him. Zach Manning, not Tyler Manning.
Got a couple sibling pairs on this team.
Quite a few of them. That's typical, though, with a lot of high school teams.
Nice job there by Manning to take it away.
Back to the middle, but kicked away for the moment by Nathan Ruger. But Bryan's still able to control the ball. 12 minutes to go here in the first half. Back towards the middle and cleared out. But Bryan's still able to come up with it. That's redirected, and diving to scoop it up is Hollingsworth along the line.
Looked like he made that harder than it needed to be, didn't it?
It did. The ball was kind of deflected to his right, it looked like.
He had to watch, though, because he had a Bryan Goldenberry, Blake Jessing coming in there kind of in his face and didn't want to lose track of him.
Just gets it across midfield. And this ball is kicked towards the sideline. And back the other way comes Van Wert. Reiser trying to take it away. He's not able to. Send it across the middle. And Hernandez has it kicked away for the time being. Bryan's able to clear it out, but right there is Nick Carter.
Nice hustle there by the Bears to get down there.
Be Van Wert's possession again. Back across the field goes Nathan Ruger, and his kick is going to be sent out of bounds by number 4, Austin Tomaszewski. Still going to be Van Wert ball. So we're getting closer to the 10-minute mark here in the first half. And they get it in play. Very short throw in right towards Colton McLeod. McLeod pursued from behind for the moment. That's taken away, though. I believe that was Tyler Manning. And a couple of players fall down. This will be a free kick for Van Wert.
They don't really wait to
Jake Lautzenheiser sends it in play.
They really don't wait to set it up. They just send it up there.
Back toward the middle, and Reiser able to clear it out for the time being. Back toward the middle, and that might have struck the hand of Zach Manning. No handball, but a chance here meanwhile, and I think we're getting an offsides call
that's
here.
That's going to be offsides by Van Wert.
That looked like a clean chance.
And I'm not sure what
for the
player
Cougars.
was offsides.
Might have been number 10, Keaton Brown.
That's what I'm going with.
And Jackson will send it back in play as we're inside the final 10 minutes of the first half. A rather quick-moving first half thus far. 1-0 lead for Van Wert. And stolen away for the time being by Carter. He sends it to the sidelines, but still in Van Wert's possession, and sliding down and unable to come up with it was Gabe Steyer. Bryan looking to push, maybe get a goal just before the end of the first half. Not going to get it on this possession, though. Manning tried to make things a little bit more difficult there for Hollingsworth. Kind of waited around before he picked it up. That's going to go over midfield. And chasing it down, meanwhile, is Evan Collin.
He did a nice job of getting to that ball. It was a foot race.
And that just barely goes out of bounds right in front of Nathan Ruger. And we had a whistle here as substitution comes in for Van Wert. That's number 14, Marshall Healy. Inside 8 minutes to play here in the first half. 1-0 Van Wert. Bryan trying to mount a comeback. Haven't had very many clear shots on goal. They've been able to push the ball downfield, but nothing's come easy for them. And this ball headed toward the sideline, out of bounds. And a throw in again for Van Wert.
Really only 2 clear shots on goal for the Golden Bears the whole game.
And we'll have another Van Wert throw in. And that's Keaton Brown with the ball, sends it upfield. Brown trying to chase it down. Didn't really have a clear chance, and that one just struck him on the hand, so no whistle. Struck him on the elbow, rather. The ball goes out of bounds off the foot of Keegan McCashin. Thrown into Healy. Sends it back the other way. And it'll be Blake Jessing coming downfield, and he has it kicked away from him. And that ball's going to go out of bounds despite the best efforts of Jackson Eddins. Brooks Brown to put it in play. Little short throw in into the right toward Blake Jessing. And Brown will get it back. That one's going to go out of bounds, though. Kicked out off the foot of Dylan Brayton. So another throw in coming for the Bears. In play to Jessing. And Jessing trying to get it to Brandon Reiser, but couldn't come up with it cleanly. 6 minutes to play here in the first half, and Mannon sends it over to McCashin. Brown sends it downfield, and that may be too long for McCashin, and it is.
Outkicked him.
It would not have been an easy shot for McCashin. He would have been almost if he had tried to take the shot from where he was, it would have been almost parallel to the line. 5.5 to play in this first half. Quinn Brown with it, has it kicked away. Well, so far, Quinn Brown has scored in each of the first 2 games, and he does a good job taking that one away. Quinn Brown, not a big kid, but a nice hustle play there by Brown, taking it away from Ruger. But it's Van Wert with the ball, trying to put together another threat.
Nice footwork there by Mannon.
Zach Manning gets it across midfield. Less than 5 minutes to go here in the first half, with Van Wert leading 1-0. And Brooks Brown with it again. Sends it right toward the middle, but Reiser went behind the defender. That's who he was trying to get it to. Off the foot of Marshall Healy.
I don't know what Healy was trying to do there. Looked like he was trying to turn it up, but all he did was kick it further back into their own zone.
Couldn't quite get a clean kick on it, it looked like. And this time, much more clean kick that time by Healy. But right towards Austin Tomaszewski. And that's going to go out of bounds. And I think it'll be a Van Wert throw-in. Or do we have a free kick here? Looks like that's the case. It's going to be a free kick for Bryan. This from long distance, though, so...
Yeah. He'll have to airmail it to make any effort on goal.
I'm not sure if the effort's going to be to try and score on this free kick. We'll have to wait and see. Sent toward the middle. And cleared out. But Bryan gets it back. That's Zach Mannon. Over to the near side. And McCashin sends it upfield to Reiser.
Oh, nice side there.
Nice cross, but right into the hands of Hollingsworth. Not sure if he was trying to kick it in from an angle. That's extremely difficult to do, but well, I've seen players score on corner kicks before.
Yep. Was that McCashin that took that shot?
I think it was. Headed back the other way, Quinn Brown in a crowd of Cougars. And this ball is going to go a little bit too far beyond the reach of Dylan Brayton. So with just under 3 minutes to play, Bryan gets the ball back, looking to tie this game down 1-0. They defeated Van Wert 1-0 last year. Won't have quite the same fate as far as the scoreboard is concerned if they can win this one. And that one's sent almost to no man's land, and Jackson comes all the way out of the box to clear the ball out. Coming up on 2 minutes to play, and here's Tomaszewski with it. Sends it backwards to Brown. Doesn't seem like Brown had much of a shot. Would have been a long one anyway. Up ahead they go. And it's going to be Tomaszewski sending it across midfield to Brown. Zach Mannon with it. Goes to the near side, and Brooks Brown. McCashin has it kicked away by Brayton. Brayton trying to control it. I don't know how he kept that ball in bounds.
Yeah, it was like walking a tightrope over there.
Reiser sends it upfield looking for McCashin, and it's a little bit beyond him, and that's
wide.
Just barely chased down. That would have been a goal kick. McCashin keeps it in play, and nearly a chance for a shot on goal for the Bears. They still got a shot, but that was that one kind of kicked awkwardly off the foot of Brown. I think he was trying to send it toward the net, but it just got a little too much air and not enough distance.
That was a great move by McCashin, though.
Sent toward the back line, and that's out of bounds, and we'll get a goal kick for Van Wert.
Under a minute to play.
45 seconds in the first.
I don't think this goal kick's going to be coming very quickly, let's just say.
And we're probably content to run the clock out.
Absolutely. Because all sorts of crazy things happen off kicks like this.
And to kill even more time, they're going to bring Jackson Edens back to put it in play. Brandon Reiser comes up with a loose ball. Yasik chasing it down. Has that one deflected. Good defense there by the Cougars. 12 seconds to go. Mannon, kind of an awkward kick. Didn't quite get as much force under the kick as he wanted to. Brown gets a shot off at almost the last second, but it's not going to go in. Trying to get off a long shot on goal, but went wide, and we've played through one half of play here in Bryan.
Let's take a break, come back with stats and more after this on the Golden Bear Sports Network.
We are at halftime here in Bryan as Bryan trails Van Wert in this boys soccer game, the third boys soccer game of the year for Bryan against a Van Wert team that won just twice a year ago. Bryan won 10 games a year ago. Their only win so far on the road against Paulding, trying to go to 2-0-1 on the season.
Well, the Bears only had 3 shots on goal and none were successful. They had only 3 shots the other way for Van Wert, and the Bears saved 3 out of those. 3 corners for Van Wert. For the Bears, they also had 3 corners and 1 goal for Van Wert, 1 offsides. And as you said, that goal came off of the direct kick or the free kick, or the direct kick rather. And so that's all we have. So it's been a very interesting game because it's mostly been played, in the 2/3 of the middle. You know what I mean?
Right. Bryan's been able to push the ball downfield, but they haven't really had any clear chances to score. Nothing's come easy for them.
Right. Absolutely. And, they've been in the corner a lot. They've been, it's just not been really successful as far as getting it right in the middle of the goal and getting shots. So the keeper really hasn't had a lot of work to do because the Bears haven't been able to put on any good shots right on goal. So it's just kind of an interesting thing, and it's very much like the Wauseon game the other night where Wauseon got up early, held the game, and then at the end for Bryan, Quinn Brown scored that goal right at the end of the game with 2 minutes left, and so to tie it up. So I look to see a little bit more up-tempo for the Golden Bears the second half, and we'll just see what Coach Neese wants to do.
Well, we got about 3 minutes until the second half begins. Until then, we will take a break here on the Golden Bear Sports Network. And welcome back here on the Golden Bear Sports Network. Just a couple of minutes before we get the second half started, Bryan trailing Van Wert 1-0 here in this boys soccer game on the Golden Bear Sports Network.
Well, you are new to the Golden Bear Sports Network, to BMU, and so this is your first broadcast. Actually, I think you're doing a fine job. Tell us, the audience, a little bit about yourself and a little bit of your background.
Well, I came down here from Minnesota. I spent 6 years there doing play-by-play. I did play-by-play in Champlin, Minnesota, which is closer to the Twin Cities. I covered 3 schools in that area. I did play-by-play for a couple of years for 1 year in Pine City, and then for a couple of years in Bemidji, Minnesota. While the station I worked at was in Bemidji, I was doing a lot of play-by-play in Black Duck, Minnesota, a small town nearby.
And I was watching some of the demo reel you gave Eric when you came here, and I'm just amazed at the breadth and width of sports you covered. Why don't you tell our audience what kind of some of the sports you did cover?
Well, I did cover soccer for about a year in Champlin, Minnesota. I also covered that as a sports anchor as well. I did some sports anchoring at that very same job, but spent a year doing play-by-play for soccer, did some hockey, did some basketball, did some baseball, a little bit of softball. First time I ever did football was when I moved to Pine City and started working there.
All right. Well, you're going to get your first chance at football tomorrow night on the Golden Bear Sports Network as we head down to Van Wert. It should be a good contest. I was reading the notes from Coach Rieger, and he said that, or Coach Recker, he said that they're very senior-laden, very heavy-laden with experience. And so he really says that the difference is going to be the offensive line and how well they can produce tomorrow.
Got a lot of they had a very improved team a year ago after going 0-10 in 2016, 5-5 a year ago. I think they also had just 1 playoff game, which they lost. But that was a big improvement for them. And for Bryan, it's been, on the football side, it's been more of a steady improvement under head coach Grant Redhead.
Yeah, it really has. And Coach Redhead said that he always has said 4 years. The 4th year is going to be the year. Well, this is year 4. First year was 0-10. Second year was 2-8. Then 6-4. And so we'll see what he has. He has some very high expectations for his men as well.
Does indeed. In fact, he was quoted in the Times saying that he's not his exact words, but very confident in his team going into the season.
You talked to him yesterday and as part of Extra Point, and what was the feeling you got going into that game?
Well, he seems to be pretty confident that his guys can put together a good season. Basically thinks that his guys they've grown and matured quite a bit.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. Should be a nice night for football. You'll be doing this again. You'll be out in the stands, and We encourage everybody to check out their the website at bryansports.com because there's some parking situation differences because they have no visitor bleachers. At Van Wert, they had a code violation, I guess, over the winter. They made them tear their bleachers down. They thought they were going to be done by the game, and actually they just started them today. So it's all going to be on the one side, and with the tiny press box over at Van Wert, we end up sitting outside. Brandon Fisher going to be filling in for me as color commentator at football this year, and I'll be down in the truck doing some of our statistics and a bunch of different things. So a new role for a bunch of us here. So we're excited to get things started here on the Golden Bear Sports Network as we get things underway. And of course, bryansports.com is the website for all sorts of good Bryan news and information.
Well, Bryan's going to start out the second half with the ball. They trail Van Wert 1-0. As we start the second half. And we are underway as Brandon Reiser will send it across the field, and a long kick that is. But back there defending is Edens. And nice. Stolen away. A nice play by Mannon. Zach Mannon there taking it away. He's got it again. Sends it back towards Zach Seaman. And now it's Tomaszewski with the ball. And again, not a lot of very easy chances for Bryan. Not many clear shots on goal. Out of the shots they've taken, there's been several Cougars around the box, and here come the Cougars, meanwhile, back the other way. But the pass a little bit behind Steyer. And sending it upfield is McCashin. Again, a crowd of Cougars around as the ball sent backwards by Van Wert. As Ryan Chen tries to make a play down on the far side. Van Wert trying to get a threat together. Bryan, again, able to push the ball towards the box, but not many clear chances at a shot on goal. And kicked back the other way by Tyler Mannon. And it's McCashin who he kicked it off of Steyer, and it is going to be a throw-in for Bryan. Back the other way, meanwhile, comes Brown. Brown pushing along the sidelines, but there was nobody there in a purple jersey. But then for a brief moment, Tyler Mannon had a chance, but he sends it out of bounds. And it's going to be a throw-in for Van Wert. Ball went out of bounds just short of the flag. Or make that a throw-in for Bryan. The referee is signaling throw-in for Van Wert. But Brandon Reiser was about to throw it in for the Bears. Still on the Bears' side of the field and kicked out of bounds and another throw-in for Van Wert. That was nearly a whole mess of confusion.
Hey, if the official hasn't signaled right away, I'm going to go take that throw in.
Well, he had it signaled for quite a while. I just think that Reiser didn't see it. But this ball headed toward the goal line, and Tomaszewski chased it down, but let it go out of bounds before Steyer could make a play on it. And Reese Jackson will put it back in play. Just 3 minutes into the second half, Bryan down 1-0. Headed backwards across midfield. And Mannon sends it back the other way to Brown. Gets it just across midfield to Quinn Brown. 1-0 Van Wert. Bryan trying to get their first home win of the season. They tied Wauseon here on Tuesday. They'll have another home game against Archbold a week from today. That was a whiffed kick there by Edens as Hollingsworth comes up to field it.
Really not another shot for Bryan. They've only had 4 shots on goal.
The ones they've had have had a lot of defenders around the box. And back the other way comes Zach Mannon. And it's kept in play for the time being by Brayton. Mannon across the field, but their defending was Chen. Van Wert's defense has just made it very difficult for Bryan to get too many clean shots. Brown trying to keep it away from Steyer. Somehow kept that ball from going out of bounds. Seemed like he was right along the sidelines and still kept it in. And now the ball does go out of bounds, and it will be back to Bryan. Tomaszewski puts it in play. But Steyer gets it for Van Wert. Not for long, though. Now Steyer almost had a full-out sprint with that ball, but I think it was Brooks Brown who got in his way.
Does a nice job sending it up the field for the Bears.
Here's Tyler Mannon. Still with it. Sends it across to Brown. Didn't really get a clean shot on it, though. Just got a knee up, and that was it. And tapping it out of the box is Hollingsworth. Brown was about to go up for it, but Hollingsworth has the clear height advantage over Quinn Brown. Kicked ahead near midfield. And that's Keaton Brown coming the other way, and perhaps a chance here, but it's cleared out. And a good job there by Evan Collin.
Yeah, Collin did a nice job of kicking that out. It was pretty much a fast break for Van Wert. He got in the middle of it, took the ball away, and just creamed it out of bounds.
Well, Bears had a chance just moments ago. Quinn Brown couldn't get a clean shot off. Was able to get a knee on the ball, and that was it. Was just about a minute or two ago. The Bears get it back across midfield. And Steyer nearly had a full dead sprint. If he gotten a hold of that ball, it probably would have been a dead sprint. And a good clear out for the time being, but chasing it down is Brandon Yasick. And that's out of bounds, or is it? Yeah, it is out of bounds. And a throw in for Bryan. I thought for a second they might just let him play on. But Yasick sends it in. And it's headed back out. And it'll be a throw in for Van Wert. They lead it 1-0 over Bryan. We'll see these two schools again tomorrow night. That'll be on the gridiron. First football game of the season for both schools. That ball just goes past. Well, looked like a number 3, but no, it was number 6 for Van Wert, Gabe Steyer. Austin Tomaszewski with the ball. Chasing him down was Steyer. Got it away just before Steyer could get to it. Taken away, though, at least momentarily, by Asnake Snyder. And a good steal by Gabe Steyer. Steyer trying to weave around defenders, has to send it all the way across the field, but there's nobody home in a white jersey. And they're going to get a whistle here. There was contact there from Dylan Brayton. Perhaps not blatant contact, but he did knock him down, and it'll be an indirect kick here for Bryan. We're 8 minutes in to the second half. So Reiser just does come up with it, able to keep it alive for the time being. Sends it back towards the middle. That would have been a tough header for any Bryan player who could have gotten ahead on it. As Yasick this time comes up with it, he'll have to send it backwards, though. Closest player to him was Tomaszewski. Just over the head of Yasick. Quinn kept it alive, but not long enough. As Isaac Alvarez comes up with it. Isaac Alvarez has the only goal of the day, and that must have gone off the foot of Zach Seaman, as they call out of bounds and a throw-in for Van Wert. Alvarez will send it to the near side.
Yosick almost got a header on that one when it came in. Not able to do that, though.
Here's Yosick, though, sending it upfield. Bryan looking to make a threat. And here is Mannon in full stride, but stride for stride with him was Chen. Shot on goal is saved right into the hands of Ryan Hollingsworth.
That was a nice shot by Mannon and a nice save.
That was probably the cleanest shot on goal that Bryan has had.
Absolutely was.
Unfortunately, Mannon, despite running as fast as his legs could carry him.
I think you said it exactly right. He was literally matched stride for stride. There was a guy on him the whole time, so he couldn't get a clean shot. I mean, a clean break to make a good shot.
Another shot on goal, and that one sent out of play. Hollingsworth makes a nice play on it. It's going to be a corner kick for Bryan, but for the time being, Hollingsworth keeps the Bears off the board.
And that was Brendan Reiser that put that one up, and it was a long goal.
Indeed it was, but Bryan's going to get another chance here. How good of a chance will it be? We'll have to wait and see.
Got some subs before we have this corner kick.
We'll see who gets to take the corner kick.
I think that might be Keegan McCashin.
Think so. Sends it in play and kicked out momentarily. Looked like Reiser was going to have a shot on goal there, but he has to send it back toward Brooks Brown.
Bears have had a lot more time of possession here in the second half, which is good.
1-0 they trail against Van Wert. That pass a little bit behind. I think that might have been Chandler Jackson, number 8. Yep, that's Jackson. Jackson was the one that sent that corner kick in. But meanwhile, Reese Jackson sends it back in play. He didn't try to punt it toward midfield. And in the meantime, a possible chance here for Gabe Steyer, but it's cleared out by the Bears. Up to Quinn Brown. Brown sends it upfield. And here goes Zach Seaman across midfield.
Oh.
Long kick. Can Seaman run it down? Nope. That's going to go out of bounds. That was well beyond his reach.
Yeah, it was. I see what they were trying to do there. They just didn't. They weren't able to get it to him in the position he needed to be in.
1-0 Van Wert leading Bryan. Bryan has had several chances to get the ball in the net. Had one clean shot on goal by Tyler Mannon, but Hollingsworth made a diving save, but it only seemed like he had to dive a short distance to his right.
Yeah, and then following it up with one where he picked it, touched it over the bar. So he had 2 really good saves back to back. He's played a good keep.
We're going for style points. I think he gets more style points
Absolutely.
for sending it over the bar.
Absolutely. He's playing a really good job at keeper tonight.
We're going to have a throw in here for Bryan. It's going to be Chandler Jackson to put it in play. Make it a free kick. It looks like he's put the ball on the turf. Sends it near the goal, and that's going to be saved by Hollingsworth. As he backpedaled, Mannon was closing in fast. Sent out of bounds. That's both Steyer and Reiser going after the ball, and does go out of bounds, and it's going to be Van Wert's corner kick, I believe. Nope. Another free kick for the Bears. Well, they might have made a little bit too much contact with each other.
But
Jackson
really,
chasing it down.
He's been a good addition here in the second half. He's played pretty well.
Sends this one out of bounds, unfortunately. That'll be a goal kick. And we'll get a few subs in for both Van Wert and Bryan. 3 for Van Wert, 1 for Bryan. 26:39 to go here in the second half. And Hollingsworth will send it in play. Nope, it's going to be up to one of his teammates. I think that's number 4, Nick Carter. That's sent just across midfield. And does Bryan have another chance on goal here? They sent it upfield, but a crowd of white jerseys was there. And well, one of the Bryan players was down for a moment. He's up now.
I think he lost his shoe.
And Mannon sends it wide of the net. Not sure if that might have been Zach Mannon who went down. But anyway, we're going to have another goal kick for the Cougars, and it looks like it's going to be Carter again to put it in play. 1-0 lead for the Cougars. Reiser with it, gets away from a couple defenders. Near the line, that's Blake Jessing. But back the other way come the Cougars. And that ball goes out of bounds, and this might be a free kick for the Cougars.
I think it's going to be a free kick for the Cougars because he went down. That was number 8.
He was run into from behind.
Absolutely.
And it looks like that's Carter taking the kick again. Much too long a shot to try to put it on net, and he sends that one out of bounds, and we'll have a throw in for the Bears. We've had a few free kicks here in this second half.
Yeah, absolutely have.
Reiser just gets it across midfield, has to backtrack. And this time Van Wert comes up with it. Back toward the middle goes Mannon. Chandler Jackson chasing it down and does not keep that one in play.
A nice hustle, though, to try to get it.
And that was close to going back out of play, though a nice job by number 9, Colton McLeod, in play. But cleared out of the box by Evan Collin. Oh, a nice header there by Jake Lotzenheiser.
And he's a head taller than Quinn Brown, who was defending him.
Quinn Brown's lack of size advantage has played in on a couple of occasions tonight.
But the kid can hustle, though, for sure.
He's hustled down the field quite a bit today. Alvarez sends that one backwards, and still going to be Van Wert's possession for the time being. Alvarez trying to chase it down. That ball was loose for the moment, but would have been tough for Blake Jessing to come up with it. Alvarez either lost his shoe or just had it come untied. I don't know what happened there. But it's out of bounds, and we're going to have a throw in for the Bears.
He might get swapped out here. I don't know. Nope, he didn't.
And it's sent the other way by Carter. The ball got volleyed by a couple different players, but Ryan Quinn had a chance at the loose ball. And now back the other way comes McLeod. Has to backtrack. He had Seaman guarding him. And the ball goes just beyond the reach of Hart. Hart went down, no call. And the ball goes out of bounds. We'll have a throw in for the Cougars. .22 minutes to go here in the second half.
Do the Bears have any scoring opportunities left?
Had a couple opportunities here in the second half. That was Quinn Brown going for the ball, and this will be a rather easy scoop for Reese Jackson. Sends it well across midfield.
Nice job by Mannon to head that.
Couple back-to-back headers from both schools. Nearly taken away. And back the other way, meanwhile, comes Lautzenheiser. He has it kicked away from him. Sending it upfield, meanwhile, is Tomaszewski. Quinn Brown tried to go after that one, but it's controlled by Van Wert for the time being. Here's Hart. Has it taken away. A nice steal there by Seaman.
He did a great job to steal that.
Sends it to the middle for Mannon, and kicked away from him by Chen.
Chen did a good job to get in that way because Mannon had a head of steam and was going forward.
Across the middle to Mannon. Mannon, nice move to the inside. Takes the shot, but right at Hollingsworth. Well, Mannon's had a couple of shots that haven't been easy, but he's been able to get the shots toward the net. Unfortunately, Hollingsworth was well positioned. Maybe a chance here for Van Wert, and we're going to get a whistle.
I think we may have got a handball on that one.
You're right, we might have, and it's going to be Bryan ball, and it'll be Reese Jackson to put it in play.
Just about 20 minutes left in this one, Dad.
Good line drive kick by Jackson. And Brooks Brown sends it upfield. Bears trailing 1-0.
It's amazing how wide the field is, you know what I mean? You have to play on all parts of it. And then when you get down to those corners, it's shadowy because of the trees.
And we're going to get a whistle here. And it looks like it's going to be a free kick for Van Wert. Not going to get a shot on goal here, though.
Unless you have a really booming kick.
You'd probably have to have a place kicker from the NFL take a kick like that.
Absolutely.
Maybe get someone like Mason Crosby to send it away. Mason Crosby, of course, the place kicker for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
Although David Akers once made a 63-yard field goal as a member of the 49ers against the Packers, no less. Good shot on goal, but right at Hollingsworth. That was Chandler Jackson who took the shot. I believe he's tied, speaking of David Akers, I believe he's tied with multiple kickers for the longest kick in NFL history. Possible chance here for Van Wert, but it's kicked right toward Brooks Brown.
Bears definitely with more shots on goal in the second half. They've already got 6 shots on goal, and they only had 4 the entire first half.
Toward the middle, Brown sends it upfield, headed back the other way. Brown heads it right back at him. As the Bears try to put together a little something here in the final 20 minutes of this game, or of regulation at least. Could very well see overtime. A 1-0 lead for Van Wert. And we're going to have a throw-in after some subs come in for the Cougars. Putting it in play is Nick Carter. Sends it up the side. And Hart puts it back in play. Well, there's a couple of Bears defenders, rather, right in the area. Bryan looking for their first home win of the season. That one's taken away. Keaton Brown, but he had it taken away from him. Nice play by Evan Collin. But still in Van Wert's possession. Up the field they go. Jackson couldn't chase it down. And right now it's Nathan Ruger sending it to the sideline, and that ball is going to go out of bounds. It'll be Colin Clark, one of the 5 seniors on this Bryan team, to put it in play. Rather short kick up to Alvarez. And good job chasing it down by Yosick. As we are beyond halfway through this second half of play here in Bryan. Rather short kick and a good chance there for Seaman to come up with a loose ball. Brown with a shot towards the net, but plenty of time for Hollingsworth to catch up to it. Rather short kick right at Seaman. Got a foot right on it just before the ball landed. Nice move by Brown. Shot on goal way too high. Oh, he had a chance.
He had
defenders around him, but he had a chance. And it's going to be a goal kick for the Cougars.
12 shots on goal now for the Golden Bears.
Ryan Quinn would have had, I believe, his 5th goal of the season, had a hat trick against Paulding in the 15-1 blowout. Had the lone goal of the game against Wauseon. Oh, nice move there. Stealing it away is Yosick. And right back to Seaman. Seaman trying to make a move on the defender. And sent toward the sideline, we are going to have a throw-in for Bryan. And it's going to be Colin Clark to put it in play for the Bears. Rather short throw just beyond Quinn Brown. As he tries to get that away from Brayton, and we're going to have a whistle. It's going to be a free kick for the Cougars. Brown may have made a little bit too much contact. Looks like it's going to be Brayton to take the free kick for the Cougars. Sends it just upfield, and it ricochets off of Mannon. Mannon has it taken away from him, though. Marshall Healy came up with the ball almost as it landed. And once again, it's Mannon with the loose ball. Mannon breaks away for the moment. Up ahead to Brown. And Brown has it taken away from him and cleared a long way out of there. And Jackson is going to let it come to him. 14 minutes to play in this game. Bryan looking to tie it. They trail 1-0. Long way upfield, beyond the reach of Brown. Clark chases it, trying to keep it in play. He does not.
While we're setting up this goal kick, I want to thank our sponsors here on the Golden Bear Sports Network: Bryan Ford Lincoln, Oberlin Turnbull Funeral Home and Crematory, the Bryan Athletic Boosters, Jason Deach Collision and Repair, Suburban Auto, Curl Funeral Service, Northwest State Community College, Bryan Municipal Utilities, and the Main Stops of Northwest Ohio. And right now on the Main Stop scoreboard, it's 1-0 Van Wert here with 26 remaining, second period.
Bryan looking for their second victory of the season thus far. For Van Wert, they've got just one game under their belts against Ottoville. They lost that one 4-0. I believe they had a rain out in a game that was scheduled for Tuesday against Riverdale. This kick goes out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Bryan. As time starts to dwindle, we've got 13 minutes left. Still plenty of time to be played. And a whistle right on the throw-in, and we've got a Cougar down. I believe that's Brayton who's down on the ground.
I don't know if he had a cramp or got kicked or what the situation was.
I'll certainly hope it's nothing serious. Right now it's just his teammates and the trainer heading out to greet him, but he appears to be mostly okay, although he does seem to have a bit of a limp. Well, the trainer will help him off. Guesses the question being asked is that if he can put some weight on that left leg. He's putting weight on it, but seems to have a bit of a limp, although it seems to be a little less of a limp than it was when he got up. So certainly hope it's nothing serious. At the moment, it does not look serious. 1-0, Van Wert leads Bryan. One of the few occasions where the clock stops. 12:37 on the clock. The only occasion where the clock stops is on goals and player injuries. But it's going to be Zach Seaman to send it in play. Gets it in, but there's a couple of Cougars around where the ball goes, and it's kicked out of bounds. Carter kicked it out last. Seaman to put it in again. Gets it to Brown. They get it back to Seaman, and that one just a little beyond the reach of Keegan Pettit. And Carter takes it the other way. That one out of bounds, and good job by the referee to get out of the way.
Absolutely. It was like a ballerina move for him to get out of the way. That was nice.
12 minutes to go in the game. We could possibly see overtime. These teams played in a 1-0 game last year with Bryan winning that one. That's the score right now, but it's Van Wert with the 1-0 lead. Back the other way comes Seaman. Seaman sends it ahead, and that apparently struck the arm of McLeod. They don't call the handball. Headed back. And Hart gets ahead on that one. A couple of players got ahead on that one. Keegan Pettit has to backtrack. And sending it upfield is Tomaszewski. Back to Pettit. Get it back to the middle for Jackson. Jackson sends it upfield through a bit of a crease, but a long run for Keegan McCashin and a goal kick coming. If he gets it to McCashin cleanly, that could be we could have a 1-1 ball game.
Absolutely. It was not clean, though, and that caused McCashin to not be able to catch up to it.
As it stands, still 1-0 Van Wert. As we are about 70 minutes into this game. In case you're wondering, that means we've got about 10 minutes left. Over to Carter, and he can't handle it. And Bryan's going to get a throw in. They send it in to Brown, and Carter trying to clear it. Send it back, and Jackson will send it to the other side of the field. Just across the timeline, or across midfield, rather. That's a basketball phrase.
Ready for basketball, huh?
Basketball was the first sport I ever broadcast.
Nice job by Van Wert to clear that out. There was a couple Bryan players heading towards the goal.
It's going to be a throw-in. Send it back to Tomaszewski, but right to Chen. Good job, though, taking it away by Seaman. Mannon sends it back. So I believe Brandon Fisher, who will be working tomorrow's football game, Bryan versus, I believe he coaches basketball at Bryan.
He is the head coach of the Bryan Golden Bears basketball
That was to the
team.
outside of the net. That did not go in. And, well, Hollingsworth appears to be hurt. Well, the way he's holding his arm behind his back, I'm not sure he didn't injure his arm somewhat. Maybe tweaked a muscle.
He was heading to the goal. As you said, the goal was wide, but I think he was there just to ensure that. And he is definitely down. And trainer for Bryan is actually heading out to take a look.
Well, this looks a bit more serious than moments ago when Dylan Brayton went off the field. He did have a limp as he came off, but did not look serious. Well, Hollingsworth able to sit up. So far, that's the best we've seen. He does rise to his feet, but it looks like he'll be heading off the field. Again, the injury looked to be to his arm.
See who a new keeper might be. Or he's just going to stretch it out and stay on.
Well, it looks like that might be what he's trying to do. But he goes to the sideline for the time being. But right now his whole team's on the sideline.
We are getting a different keeper.
Let's take a look at the number.
Do they have anybody else listed on their roster as a potential keeper?
Isaac Alvarez, but that doesn't look like him.
Taylor Springer?
Taylor Springer is
right.
the goalie. And it looks like it is going to be a corner kick. Hollingsworth apparently got a piece of that ball before it went out. So perhaps a scoring chance here for Bryan. So wait and see how good of a chance that will be. Sent in play. Got some good height on it. Not a clear shot on goal at this point, and it's cleared out for the moment. Bears kind of had to backtrack there. But it's Edens who comes up with a loose ball. Less than 9 minutes to play in regulation.
That was the 5th corner kick for the Golden Bears.
We had several corner kicks early on. That number seems to have, well, not quite dwindled, but it seems to be less corner kicks as the game goes than there was in the early going.
Well, we had six total in the first half, and Van Wert has not had a corner kick this half.
They had 3, I believe, in the first half at the very least. That may have been a handball. Oh, nope, free kick.
Wow.
As he was stumbling to the ground, Reiser looked like he got a hand on it, but I think the call is that he was tripped, and the only goal of the game has come by way of a direct kick.
From right about there.
See if they give Mannon the direct kick or if it's going to be indirect.
Hey, you got one going is outside.
I believe Tyler Mannon has Zach Mannon behind him, so we may see an indirect here.
We got Quinn Brown close to the goal, and Keegan Pettit.
It will be Mannon taking the shot. Bobbled, kick toward the net, and saved just barely.
Wow.
Ryan Quinn went for the loose ball. And I think the referee is explaining to him that he could have easily been called for offsides. Well, several chances to score here in the second half for Bryan, but unfortunately they have not been able to put the ball in the net. Up the field goes Pettit. Sends it to the middle, but there was a crowd of Cougars there. Sent to the far side, meanwhile, by Cullen. Loose ball, tripping over Brown, meanwhile, was Zach Mannon. And we're going to have a free kick.
That's interesting because that looked very incidental. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it did look incidental. Like he just tripped over and Brown didn't see him. Headed back out. And Mannon trying to keep it away from Chen. He's able to do that. Sent back the other way. And Eden sends it upfield. Good job getting in front of the pass, though. I think that was Brown who got ahead.
We got ahead of it. Another player down.
That's another Van Wert player. Well, Van Wert is leading on the scoreboard, but they've had a few players walk off the field dealing with injury.
Yeah,
the injury to Brayton didn't seem so serious, but Hollingsworth had to leave the field. Hollingsworth's back on the field right now. I don't know if he's going to... Well, nope, I think he's just on the field helping his teammate. Meanwhile, the injured player was Colton McLeod, number 9. He's up on his feet trying to see if he can put some weight on his leg. He's not able to put much weight in that leg. He's in pain.
Yes, he is. He's actually going to get an assist, and he's hobbling off.
Yeah, I think it's his left leg that's bothering him. He does not want to put any weight on that.
So 3 people now for Van Wert have head off with injuries.
Now Hollingsworth is headed off the field. Brayton headed off the field, and again, he seemed to have a moderate limp.
And actually, we're going to get the original goalie back.
Yeah, Hollingsworth coming back in.
So Springer saved the one attempt that they made on him.
Barely, but he saved it.
Yes, he did.
And it is going to be a free kick for Brown, although they're kicking from just beyond midfield.
Our next broadcast on the Golden Bear Sports Network is going to be Friday, tomorrow, at Van Wert for football. Pregame will start at 6:30 with kickoff at 7. You can always listen to the audio on bryansports.com or Q96.5 FM. And, of course, the TV rebroadcast happens Saturday, 7 p.m., BMU Channel 3. So we love covering the games for the Golden Bear Sports Network. Entering our 14th season of football action.
I believe we're going to be right back here a week from today
Yes,
as Bryan takes on Archbold.
That'll be a good game. That'll be a league contest.
Yeah, this is an interleague contest between Van Wert from the Western Buckeye League, Bryan, a member of the Northwest Ohio Athletic League.
Did you know that the Bryan Van Wert football game is the longest running opening night high school football game in the state of Ohio?
I've been told that it's one of them, and I think there are some other schools that might debate that.
Well, it is true. So it's been going on for years and years. I don't know the first year, a lot of years ago. So always nice to go down to Van Wert. Cool stadium. Actually, I'll be packed into the home stands like sardines tomorrow night. They're undergoing a building project to replace the visitor bleachers. So
we're kind of in the midst of the road stands here.
You will be sitting calling the game in. We always call the game in the stands at Van Wert, weather permitting, because of the crampedness of the press box. But you will actually be amongst the Bryan fans tomorrow night, where normally we're amongst the Van Wert fans. So friendly crowd. Of course, Van Wert's a friendly crowd too. We've never had an issue with them.
Quinn Brown sends it toward the middle. Yosick trying to chase after it. He does. At Healy right on his tail. Tomaszewski right off the foot of Keaton Brown and unable to keep that one in play. That was a tough kick for Tomaszewski. And we're getting another sub. 5.5 minutes to play. Van Wert leading Bryan 1-0. Only goal coming off a direct kick. Isaac Alvarez put that one in. We were talking about stands. The way the stands work here is most of the people who came had to bring lawn chairs, sit in the grass. Well, not sit in the grass, but set their chairs up in the grass. Healy unable to keep that one in play. Yosick to put it in. Kept alive for the moment. Manning did a good job of that. Back toward Collin. Sends it upfield. And back across the middle, and thought I heard a whistle, but play on. 4.5 to go here in regulation. Yosick keeps that one away from Brown just barely. Chen trying to get it away from Manning, and Manning's going to be called for the foul there. It looked like he pushed Ryan Chen down to the ground. So that's it won't be a shot on goal here for Van Wert, but somewhat of a tough break for the Bears. It's headed back the other way, though. Now it's Tyler Manning with the ball, trying to make a move to the far side. Quint for it, doesn't get ahead on it. Sent towards goal, and that's just wide, and I'm not sure Hollingsworth didn't get a hand on that. I think they're calling a goal kick, but Hollingsworth came close to deflecting it.
That was a nice shot. Was that Reeser?
I think it was. And Hollingsworth set to put it in play. 3 minutes to go. A 1-0 lead for Van Wert. And that one's deflected. Manning with the ball. Sends it to the far side, and that's Brayton who comes up with it. Brayton pushing the other way. It's back in Bryan's possession for the time being. Toward the near side. Yasik trying to chase it down. Does so toward the middle. Brown couldn't come up with it. They send it backwards toward Collin. Taken away, though, by Steyer. Trying to push downfield. Collin steals it right back. Right toward the middle. And that's Zach Manning. Little short kick up the side. And time dwindling, less than 2 minutes to play here in regulation. Still time for Bryan to get the game-tying goal, but very little of it. Sent toward the net, and it's wide again.
Wow. Lots of wide shots for the Golden Bears tonight.
And again, Hollingsworth came close to touching that one, but again, they're giving him the goal kick instead of a corner.
Tyler Manning with that shot. 15 shots on goal for the Golden Bears.
And he will send it in play, despite the fact that the clock is getting down toward the final minute. Hart sends it across midfield. And that ball will go out of bounds, and I believe it's going to be Van Wert's throw in.
They're not going to be in any hurry to throw it in.
We've got less than a minute now to play as Van Wert, who won twice last season, looks to pick up their first win of this season. Sent the other way toward the net, and I think they're calling it a goal kick. They are. Jackson will put it in play. Coming up on 30 seconds. Bears running out of time, down by 1. And he got tripped up, and there's the call.
They'll have to hurry up because the time does not stop. There's only 22 seconds remaining. They're going to have to boom this.
Brooks Brown to send it in play. Sends it upfield, headed out by Hart. 15 seconds to go. Coming up on 10. Sent towards the net. And saved by Hollingsworth, and he can just let the clock run out.
Yep, that should do it.
And he boots it with just a little time to spare, and Van Wert defeats Bryan 1-0.
Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap it up with stats after this on the Golden Bear Sports Network. No, keep it going. We're going to do we're going to wrap it up.
And we're back here in this edition of High School Soccer on the Golden Bear Sports Network. Van Wert defeats Bryan by a final score of 1-0. Isaac Alvarez had the game's only goal. That was on a direct kick. Bears had some chances toward the end, but were unable to come up with the game-tying goal. They lose 1-0. They fall to 1-1-1 on the season. Bears have yet to win a home game. They had the tie against Wauseon just a few days ago. They'll be back in action against Archbold just a week from tonight, but we've got the final stats.
We do. Bryan had 5 corner kicks. They had Reese Jackson had a 75% save rate, only gave up the 1 goal off the direct kick. For Van Wert, they had the 1 goal. They had 3 corner kicks, and they had a perfect 10 for 10 saves. 4 shots on goal for the Cougars, so they made the most of their shots, only getting the 1 shot off of, or the 1 goal off of the 4 shots.
So Bryan falls in this one 1-0, and again, we'll be right back here next week as Bryan, I believe that's the next game on their schedule. In fact, they'll take on Archibald and try to get their second victory of the season.
Absolutely. We want to thank all of our sponsors bringing you the game here tonight on the Golden Bear Sports Network. Northwest State Community College, Krill Funeral Service, Suburban Auto, Jason Deach Collision and Customs, Bryan Municipal Utilities, the Bryan Athletic Boosters, Oberlin Turnbull Funeral Home, Main Stops of Northwest Ohio, and Bryan Ford Lincoln.
Well, in the meantime, our next game is tomorrow night here on the Golden Bear Sports Network. Bryan will be on the road against Van Wert for the high school football season opener. Until then, for Chris Malinga, I'm Thad Goff. So long from Bryan.